So you're thinking about making a move to Sacramento?
But wait!
Wait.
There's a few things you definitely need to know before moving to Sacramento.
Yeah, so we're going to outline some of the top 10 things that you maybe didn't want to know about Sacramento.
Start with number one. We have a nice list here actually, and right now it's actually the heat. But we always say what?
Well, it's a dry heat, so it's okay. And the great thing is most of the homes here in the area do have pools, and if they don't, there's certainly either a community pool or a private club that you can, join that has access to pools. So there's always a way to beat the heat, for sure.
There's always to beat the heat, and then there's really not that many days that are 100+ degrees either, right?
That's true, yes. And we're so close proximity, like we're literally centered right in between the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area and also my favorite place in the world,
Lake Tahoe.
Yes. So if we've got a bunch of 100+ days in a row, you'll see a lot of people heading up the hill or heading down to the bay to get out of the heat.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the heat is also nice, right?
Yes.
Because let's face it, I'm from Germany. We don't have very predictable weather. Here, on the other hand, we really do.
Yes.
So you can plan your outdoors. And like Renee said, you can be on the river. There's so many things you can do to get out of the heat. And the cool thing we haven't even talked about yet is the Delta breeze.
Yes, we do get the Delta breeze in the evenings, usually in Sacramento. So that is something to look forward to. And a lot of people, you just have air conditioning.
Yeah.
That's the other way to beat the heat. And, we have really about 3 seasons in Sacramento. We've got summer, which is very long, and then fall and spring, and a very, very, very short winter. So that's the other nice thing as well.
That's true.
Our weather is quite predictable.
Yeah.
So number 2.
The number 2, allergies.
Yes. Yeah, most of our clients, if they come here from out of the area, which we have a lot of people that are moving here from the Bay Area, or people coming in from Washington or Nevada, or sometimes Oregon. We get some Arizona here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So people are still moving into California, I promise. But most of our clients do come from the Bay. And within about a season or 2, they usually have developed some kind of seasonal allergy.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Sacramento is called the city of trees, right? So hence you're going to get a few pollen here and there. And I saw another video for a different area. I think it's a common thing in different parts of the country as well. So in the spring, yes, you may get those times where you have a light yellow dusting on your car, depending on the wind. But yeah, those are the pollen, right?
And our friends at Quick Quack love us all for it.
Yeah, that's true. And there's obviously things you can do about, right, the local honey. I've heard, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice either. But I've heard that some people have really good success by eating the local honey.
Yes.
Right.
And we have one of our lender friends, her kids harvest it. So let us know. Hit us up for some honey if you need it.
Yeah, that's true.
So number 3, our region is super spread out. Oh my gosh. So the city of Sacramento itself is home to about 500,000 people, according to Wikipedia. And the region, which is comprised of either 6 or 7 counties, depending on your source, and it is over 2.5 million people in that 6 or 7 county region. And I don't know if you knew this, I just looked it up. It's over 21,000 square miles.
Well, it sure feels like it. Because, I mean, it's easy that you can travel from one side of the city to the other. Yeah. And it'll take you, with traffic, it can easily take you an hour plus, right? Definitely. Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we definitely notice when we're helping our clients figure out where to end up in Sacramento. And there's a lot to choose from, and it can take you all day to do a home tour for sure.
Yeah. So we always recommend, watch any subsequent video that we're focusing on this particular neighborhoods. Yes. But it is spread out. 21,000 square miles. Yeah. That's insane.
It is insane.
Right.
But we love it.
Yeah.
The number 4, I mean, it being so spread out, that takes us right into traffic. And there's a lot of it. There's a lot of roads that lead in and out of Sacramento. And so timing it and knowing which ways to go is super important.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like everything, everywhere in a major metropolitan area, right? The jobs are typically downtown, so you have the major commuters from the suburbs into Sacramento, and on the evening rush hour, it's the opposite way. It's nowhere compared to LA traffic or Bay Area traffic. As a matter of fact, it just took me over 45 minutes, or was it an hour, to get from the San Francisco airport just to the Bay Bridge. So nothing crazy like that in Sacramento. No. Don't have to worry about that.
Certainly not. But depending on if you're coming, east-west, we've got the Highway 550 and Highway 80 that bring you into downtown. Or if you're going north-south, we've got 5 and 99. And you definitely want to keep up with the traffic apps and those things in order to make your drive a little bit smoother.
Yeah, that's true. And now with Waze and all those other apps,
yes,
it's pretty easy.
That's true.
If you can, just avoid the traffic hours. But, I mean, there's reasons why there's a lot of traffic, because the suburbs, every single suburb has something different. So there's a lot of things you can do in Sacramento, really, that make the area very unique. And I think so many people are actually looking into Sacramento and looking to move to the Sacramento area.
And along the same lines as traffic, our public transportation is very lacking.
Yeah, it's basically not there, right? We have a light rail system that works, but most people don't really want to use it at night because they don't feel safe. And it's really not connecting a lot of the suburbs, because the money is lacking, so they can't cross the river, and so they can't get to one of the major metropolitan suburbs, I should say, right? In the northern part that would connect the airport, for instance.
They've been trying to connect the downtown with the airport for decades. Like since we've been here, we've been in the Sacramento area off and on since 2000, and they've been talking about connecting light rail to the airport that whole time. Yeah. I will say there's some unique things that we were at a meeting. It's been within the last couple of years. And it was all of the government agencies were getting together and talking about, some of the big major issues, and certainly traffic and the public transportation was a big topic. And the city of West Sacramento actually had a pretty unique, and I think there's some other cities that are going to take this on, but they went from, they still have their bus system, but they also added in... Will you
say it already?
Yes, they added in on-demand public transportation. And so the one example that they used, it was super cute. This older lady used to take the bus, and she would go do her laps at the community pool for her physical therapy, and she stopped doing it for a little while because the bus system took her like an hour to get from her home to the pool.
Because it was going everywhere,
It was going everywhere. Yeah. Like she had to drive all around West Sacramento before she actually ended up at the pool. Right. And so she wasn't doing her physical therapy. And so the city started offering a on-demand ride service. And so they would go and pick her up. And it was actually Mercedes vans, because Mercedes makes really great large vans. And so she also felt super special.
We don't have an endorsement with Mercedes.
We don't. No, not yet.
I wish I was, but maybe it'll come after this video.
Right.
We'll see.
But anyway, she, felt super special, and it got her there super quickly and took her back home really fast. And, she would brag to her friends that her Mercedes, shuttle service was coming to pick her up and take her to her physical therapy. Yeah, so I thought that was a great story.
That is pretty cool. And there's one, I think there's one route that I would point out. It takes, for those people that are considering Folsom, California, which is along the 50 corridor, the light rail station is actually going all the way into historic Folsom, right? Yes. And connecting to the outlets and things like that. And more on that on the episode that just handles Folsom.
Yes.
But, it's there, but it could definitely be improved on.
100%.
Right.
Yeah. So another thing, when people think California, they oftentimes think of beautiful beaches like Newport Beach or Huntington Beach. And while we have a ton of water in our area, we're surrounded by rivers and lakes, we don't have a real beach per se.
I would disagree, because there's Granite Bay, which is in Placer County on the northern side of Folsom Lake, which is a man-made reservoir, and there's some really nice sandy beaches.
Right.
I just have never taken you there.
I've lived here longer than you. I've been to the Granite Bay Beach. Well, we just haven't been together.
Well,
even though
you work all the time, so that's the tough part, right? So.
That is not untrue. Yeah. Never not working.
Yeah.
So, like we talked about earlier, it does get really hot here. So we're not going to have that cool coastal breeze like the beaches that are along the coastline. Right. However, there are lots of ways to get into the water and to enjoy beaches, just not oceanfront beaches.
Right. And I mean, on that note, there's the north and the south fork of the American River. There is little wild water rafting, depending on the time of year you actually getting in the lake, and actually in the river too, because the river flows through the lake. So there's plenty of stuff to do. So, but another negative would be the taxes.
Yeah, the taxes. I mean, not only are taxes in the state of California pretty high, just overall for income taxes, and that's why we have a good number of people that are moving out of state, and we can help connect you with people if that's your goal too. However, the taxes for our property taxes, depending on the area, can be really hefty. So all of our lender friends, they'll usually figure like 1.25% of the sales price for your property taxes. And we have some areas where it's literally an additional $200 to $400 a month on top of, not 1.25, but on top of a whole percent that you're paying in addition to your regular property taxes. So that's hefty in my book. I mean, I don't always have an extra $200 or $400.
It depends, right? And then it's called a Melrose. And again, we're not giving any tax advice. We're not tax professionals. We just know enough to be dangerous. And the Melrose is just a way for home developers and builders to finance the infrastructure and make the future homeowners pay over time. And then we've noticed that there's some areas actually where the Melrose expires. And then there's other areas where it's in perpetuity.
Right. So as you're looking at neighborhoods, we can definitely point you in the direction of, this neighborhood's going to be a little bit less expensive. The good thing about Melrose or any particular bond that is added onto your property taxes is it usually does equate into really nice parks, really nice schools, things like that. So the money goes towards something. It's just a big bullet to bite.
And let's face it. I mean, yes, we're complaining about the taxes here, but if you're one of the few people that are not moving out of California from Texas, but moving from Texas to California, you'll be surprised how nice our property taxes are and how they actually stay pretty manageable, especially for our retired folks, because they typically do not reassess the property tax base every year. It's called Proposition 13. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Numbers. Right? I'm the numbers guy, but whatever. And which is a nice thing, because then you're not forced when you're on a what is it called? Fixed income. Thank you. Yeah. To sell your house just because the property values went through the roof, which just happened.
Right. So, yes, certainly.
And it's also pretty much unique in such, I mean, other than the Melrose, that we don't have those big fluctuations like when you're coming from Florida, for instance. I think it's different from every county to county what kind of tax base you have and what you're paying in property taxes. So it's a little bit more transparent, I would say.
Yeah, right? I could say that.
But still negative.
Yeah. I guess. And still, speaking of finances, all of California, I think people would agree, cost of living is fairly high, and Sacramento is not an exception to that. So our Greater Sacramento Economic Council, which they are amazing and have some great data that we pulled some of these numbers from as well, they are super good about saying that Sacramento is the affordable California option, and it's still really expensive to live here. So gas is through the roof in all of California. Housing, our median home price is $521,000 according to a recent study on Zillow. And then rents are on the rise too.
Yeah, which is good if you're a landlord, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Or if you're looking at investment property, although that's a whole different story.
Right. But yeah, rents even for one bedroom are starting at about $1,500 and going up from there. So rents on the rise as well, which makes it overall a pretty expensive place to live. And there's lots to do. So we'll talk about that on another video, some of the pros of living in Sacramento. But I think we have a couple more.
So I think we are number 9, if I read this list correctly.
Or number next.
Yeah, or number next. And let's face it, we have definitely a homeless problem. The unhoused, as we call them, right? They just need a place where they can feel safe, and they typically find themselves along the American River, which happens to be also a really, really nice parkway where people like to walk and run and
bike
and things like that. So there is definitely a problem with that. And they are trying to really figure it out and provide housing, alternative housing, and more, I think more importantly, programs.
Right.
But it's definitely a problem. And it's, again, nothing compared to what you see in LA.
Or San Francisco.
Or San Francisco. But we have our homeless as well.
Yes. Right? In 2022, there were some figures that were at about 9,000 in our region for homeless. And the majority of them are on the city streets, under the freeways, or like you said, along the American River Parkway. So, yes.
But our mayor is trying hard, really.
Yes,
very,
they are
very
working hard. It's just not going fast enough.
Yeah.
And it's,
And I think it helps that we are the capital of the state, so maybe there's a little bit more priority on that than it would be otherwise in other cities, I think.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about government being a negative, but we have a huge number of our citizens are employed by the government, and we need to bring more industry in, which is why GSEC is working so hard on that. But to get anything to happen in Sacramento, you have a city council, you have county board of supervisors, and you have the state government all in one place. So the politics do get a little bit bonkers.
But if you're a lobbyist, this is a great place to be.
For sure. You're never not going to be busy. You'll always be working, just like me.
That's right. Always not working.
Never not working.
No, never not working. I can never get it straight, but hey.
Anyway, we, regardless of all these negatives, obviously we have a lot of fun here in Sacramento and here on our channel. So.
And frankly, the positives still outweigh the negatives, because otherwise we wouldn't be living here.
True.
Yeah.
There's one last thing that we wanted to chat about, though.
Drought and flood.
Yeah, we're all about the extremes here in Sac.
So, unfortunately, Sacramento is, although we are currently in a drought, and we've been in a drought several times over the last couple decades.
How old are you?
I feel really old.
The last few decades that we've lived here.
Yeah, there were at least 2 or 3 droughts, this being probably the 3rd or 4th drought now. And but when there's no drought, we are surrounded by rivers. And when it was Katrina, right?
It was
Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans flooded, they did say that Sacramento was the second most prone
we were the most vulnerable outside of
to flooding, right? But they since have actually reinforced the levee system and things like that, which again, property taxes, right?
Yes.
So
and flood insurance. So in some areas, flood insurance is required in our area. Right. So again, if you're looking to make a move here and you have questions about that, we're happy to answer.
Yeah, because Sacramento is like not just the tree city, but the river city.
Yes.
But what I want to say something else. It's hard to think about a flood when we have to ration water right now.
Yeah.
So, which that's the other thing. I mean, a lot of people say, and you may like it or you may not, that the South is taking our water in the North, and so there's definitely polarization of people, right? And but overall, I mean, as long as we all conserve, I think so far we've been managing pretty well.
So far, so good.
Yeah, that's true. It's the snowpack. We need the snowpack in the winter, and I think that's what saved us this year a little bit. Because we had late snow, and that's where Renee's favorite place comes in again, because a lot of our water in May, June, July really comes from this melting snowpack.
Yes.
Yeah, which is only an hour and a half away.
Yes, that is one of my favorite things about Sacramento.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you are new to the channel, definitely hit the subscribe button.
Yeah.
If you want to learn more about the different areas of Sacramento that we love. We also have some pro and cons for different areas.
Do we want to talk about some more pros?
No, we're going to do pros on another video.
Okay, we'll do pros on another video. So you have to tune into the next video.
You have to tune in to the next one. We'll give you some pros, like, the farm to fat...
I'm glad it's not just me.
Farm to fat. No, I mean, but if you eat too much, that could happen too. Farm to fork, capital of the world.
Yeah.
We've got some of the best food scene, I think, in the States probably. And we're one of the most diverse cultures. There's so much good stuff.
There's definitely. Yeah. So
anyway, hit the subscribe button, hit the alert button so you find out first about different neighborhoods and things going on.
And we appreciate you tuning in, and always feel free to give us a call.
Yeah, we hear from people like you every day looking to make a smooth move into Sacramento. And, over the years we've been able to help more than 800 families call Sacramento home. So hopefully we can help you too. And whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, we're here to help.
Well, 100 days.
That's too long.
Okay.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Feel free to reach out via text, DM, or you can also just click the link below and schedule some time in our calendar too.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.